In the early hours of July 3, 1971, the mist rolled in heavier than usual over the Bavarian Valley. Felsenhaven, a remote mountain village with barely 168 residents, woke up for the last time, or at least that's what the records claim. Felsenhaven was one of those towns people forgot existed. No major roads led to it. No railway stopped nearby. The only access was through a winding path deep within the forest, carved by logging carts decades ago. But it had its charm. Flower-laden balconies, cobbled streets, and traditions untouched by modern Germany. That morning, at precisely 7:42 a.m., Franz Koenig, the regional postman, arrived on his motorcycle as he had every Monday and Thursday for 12 years. But this time, something was wrong. No dogs barking, no voices, no children running to greet him and ask for bubble gum. Just silence. Thick, pressing silence. He parked at the main square and noticed every shop door was wide open, not just unlocked, open. Curtains fluttered in the summer breeze. Fresh bread still sat on bakery shelves. Newspapers were half folded on doorsteps. As Franz walked street after street, calling out names, panic began to grow. Coffee cups were still steaming in some homes. Eggs half-eaten on plates. Radios buzzed static in empty living rooms. Not a single person in sight. No blood, no signs of struggle, no missing cars. The church bells rang automatically at 8 a.m. as if mocking the absence of life. By noon, the police were called. By 3 p.m., the area was sealed by military trucks. By sundown, Felsenhaven was declared uninhabited, but no official term like evacuation or disaster was used. It was as if the town had slipped out of reality itself. Franz would never recover from what he saw that morning. In later interviews, those few he agreed to, he always said the same phrase. By the morning of July 4th, the entire region around Felsenhaven was under military lockdown. Barriers were placed on every forest path. Helicopters circled overhead. Anyone approaching the town was turned back, often at gunpoint. The initial police report was only 3 pages long. It mentioned a mass absence of residents and no visible signs of disaster or violence. But by the next day, the report vanished. Literally only a few copies remained, and those were seized by government agents from the Federal Interior Office. The official statement released to the press was vague and eerily cold. Due to environmental instability, the town of Felsenhaven has been cleared for safety. No further explanation. No interviews. No images. Yet whispers began to surface. Rumors spread among nearby villages. Some locals said they saw military trucks arrive the night before the disappearance. Others claimed the army didn't find an empty town, but something worse, and had to clean it up. The mayor of a neighboring town, who had visited Felsenhound many times, wrote an angry letter demanding answers. He disappeared 2 weeks later while hiking with his dog. Only the dog returned shaking, injured, and covered in asthe. Newspapers stopped printing the story. Journalists who tried to follow up were either silenced or reassigned. The press moved on, but the locals didn't forget. To this day, old men at the pub in nearby Oberdorf still speak in whispers. It wasn't an evacuation, they say. It was erasure, an erasure of presence. 2 days before the town vanished, a freelance photographer named Emil Hartmann arrived in Felsenhound to document rural life for a travel magazine. A loner, passionate about capturing lost places, Emil was always drawn to towns on the edge of history and reality. He stayed in the town's only inn. Locals were kind, though distant. They spoke in hushed tones about strange lights and dreams that didn't feel like dreams. That night, Emil stood on a hill overlooking the valley, snapping photos of the glowing fog. He noted a low, pulsing hum that resonated in his chest. It made him nauseous, but curious. The next day, he took dozens of photos. Some showed shadows that didn't match any object. Others captured faint figures at windows, figures no one else remembered seeing. In one image, a man appears to be standing in midair, several inches above the ground. Emil mailed a roll of film to his brother in Berlin the morning before the vanishing. That roll never arrived. Emil's camera was found weeks later, buried beneath a collapsed tree miles from town. The photos inside were mostly ruined, but one negative survived, a long street with dozens of empty shoes lining the sidewalks, like people had vanished mid-step. He was never seen again. Villagers from nearby areas reported hearing a strange sound days before the disappearance, an unnatural mechanical humming that started at dusk and faded by dawn. It wasn't loud, but it burrowed deep into the body, like a second heartbeat. Some likened it to whale calls. Others said it felt like their teeth were vibrating. Radios picked up interference. Animals refused to enter the woods. On the night of July 2nd, several villagers recorded the sound using old tape decks. The recordings were later analyzed by sound engineers. The frequency matched nothing known, neither industrial nor environmental. More disturbing, when played in reverse, the hum formed a rhythm, almost a pattern, almost a code. One expert said the pattern resembled a countdown. But to what? In 1989, 18 years after the event, a young boy was found walking alone near the ruins of the Felsenhound Trail. He wore outdated clothes, spoke an old German dialect, and had no ID. He said his name was Nicholas, and he believed it was still 1971 DNA tests confirmed he belonged to the Bauer family, one of the missing residents. But his age was wrong. If born in 1964, he should have been 25. But Nicholas looked 10. He had nightmares of black skies and voices that spoke without mouths. He drew symbols that no one could translate. Symbols found later etched into trees near the vanished town. Doctors placed him in psychiatric care. He disappeared from the clinic in 1991. His bed was empty, window shut. No footprints, only a note, semained, written in a shaky hand. They're coming back soon. Inside a dim, concrete-walled military archive room, a rusty metal cabinet hangs half open. On a wooden desk beneath flickering lights lies a halt-burned logbook. Its tom pages marked with handwritten notes, military stamps, and sections blacked out in thick ink. A faded map of the region is pinned crackedly to the wall behind it, with the word Felsenhound circled in red. Smoke curls from a still-burning cigarette in an ashtray. A black-gloved hand reaches toward a folder labeled Classified Project Rückkehr. The forest here is no longer just trees. It's something older, something watching. No birds sing in this place. No insects buzz. The only sound is a distant, low-frequency pulse amut, jike, a heartbeat, coming from beneath the ground. Thick mist coils through the trees, wrapping around Tom like living veins. Every tree in this section of the forest is twisted unnaturally, their trunks spiraling upward like they were melted and relamed. Burkpulis back in long, unnatural strips, exposing pulsing veins of blue light deep within the wood. The hiker, a man in his 30s, wearing one brown hiking boots and a rod flannel shirt, approaches a nano-cleaning when the mass is black, onci. His expression is a blend of awe and dreamt. He raises one hand toward the air ahead of him, not because he sees something, but because he fools something. The moment his fingertips come within inches of an invisible beamer, the world seems to tremble. His fingers distort, bending backwards as frouching some magnetic field that doesn't obey physics. Me seems to slow around him. Leaves falling from the canopy above stop mid-air, hovering like they've been paused in a vidya. A raindrop freezes night before hitting the mows. His companion, a woman with a camera shapped to her chout watches in silent Homer. Her hand half-instinctively covers her mouth. The dog groweth ow, refusing to step any closer, the fur bristling. Above Tom, a shimmer of light pulls through the trees like a curtain of water falling in slow motion. A faint ring of symbols glows briefly on the moss in a perfect circuit beneath the Niker's boot, then vanishes. Whatever this Boehner is, it was not made by man. This is not Juatalokaleki. It's a threshold, a doorway, not Berween places, but between Wemiona of reality. And it's waking up. The room is small and dark, barely the size of a prison call. It smells of burnt wines, cold coffee, and old fear. The only light comes from a crooked lamp on a desk cluttered with madness. On the desk, an Oli shortwave radio, its knobe worn, its metal scratched. It crackles with static thyon. Suddenly, with a soft female voice, Kitunding dit swell drell. Then a pause, then Tilsund whispers in a language that almost sounds like Latin, but not quite. Then static again, then music, a waltz. Playeo just oft key, beside the kodio, a stack of norbumoku filed with frantic Honawhiting rides, and nay, rangama of impossible machines, scribbled phrases in red ink. Time doesn't flow here. He sennaven the anchor. They remember. On the wall maps of southern Germany, satellite images from different decades, married with red strings, X's, and burned our holes. A man in his 40s alts, hunched in front of the radio, headphones prossed to his cars. Sweat drips from his brow, his eyes the veiny. Bloodshot. He's been latening for hours, maybe days. He reaches for a tape recorder and hits record July tist. 3:47. They're broadcasting again. Some numbers, some voice. maybe it hides here. The tree is perfect, too perfect. Every stone as the cobbled road is clean, dustless, as if freshly laid. The sidewalks are eined with classic 1970s cars, none rusted, nane diary. Their windows are slightly togged from the inside-o. Steel lumps flicker UND, though it's ridday. There's no wind, yet a child's med balloon floats mid-an above the road, motionless, like's rathered to something invisible. Every house along the Stuet has its cortwins drawn, except one. A tall, nano home with yellow prant peeling from the ethvies. On the second friar a window slightly ajar. A lace curtain sways, but not with the breeze, with breath. Behind the glass a hand way thin, immobile, pressed flat. From a distance, a faint face lavable, just the cut line of two eyes in darkness, watching, waiting. The camera zooms in lowly. The face doesn't move, doesn't bilink, but somehow the expression changes. On the stops below the house, a child, a toy truck abandoned co. The wheels turn once slowly, thon slop. The silence isn't peaceful, it's expectant. As the town Inzelt is warring for you to look away, and when you do, it moves. Shouldn't be the Roataui from another time, standing intact in the middle of the forest, untouched by decay. The rules are clean, the gardens are blooming, the air smalls faintly of lilac and oasis smoke. 3 modern hikers stand at the edge of a hill overlooking Ifruzen in disbelief. One has fallen to her knees, crying. Another grips a tree branch to avoid collapsing. The thay simply stares. The town below is silent, too silent. But the theth bell rings, ding. It echoes through the valley, ding. But there's no church tower in sight. From the main street, a ligure begins to walk. Slowly, gilding almost, its shape is Rangi's limbs, slightly too long, its lace bow pole, it wears clothes from the 70s, and it looks up, one hiker screama. The camera fall to the ground. Storic. For a moment, the mago glitches Lico, VHS topo, caught Borwayan channels. Then, in just a second, the hiker's fame apps again. but he's standing in the lawn now, and behind him dozens more, standing still, watching. The town didn't return. It brought something with it.